Finland 1, England 3 here in Helsinki, and as I said at the end of the radio show, it wasn't great, but it was a win, and England needed it. Jim Proudfoot, our commentator, is with us for the England Debrief, and Stuart Pearce, England legend, as well. I'm going to start with this one, Stuart Pearce, because we both kind of agreed that there was a spell in that second half where we were bored watching England. I hate saying that, but we were, because England were fairly boring, weren't they?
Well, I admire our possession football. Granted, fantastic. But we need to be more offensive. I think we need to run behind a little bit more, need to turn and take players on. I would like to see a more exciting product. I really would. I think, listen, the result we're delighted with. I think we ceded too many efforts in our final third, but the win was vitally important tonight.
No, it's very interesting listening to Lee Carsley and Declan Rice speaking to our correspondent Faye Carruthers after the game, and they were both talking about the second half and the control that they had and the short passing game. So clearly that is the brief. Lee mentioned the fact that it was more than 800 passes. It was 818, in fact, over the whole game. So it's clearly now that England are trying to play a certain way, and that it seems as though the game plan is all this possession football, almost possession for possession's sake, and it doesn't necessarily matter if you don't create a stack of opportunities. As the game goes on, they are going to come and you're going to be able to wear the opposition out, score goals late on. That seems potentially to be the game plan, reading into what they were saying, because the passing accuracy was sensational. There were a stack of passes, but it's just a question of whether, as England supporters, people want more than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of questions with it. Was it entertaining? Yeah. Did it get the result? Yeah. But actually, we're looking to win a tournament, aren't we? We've just got to the Euro final, 2 finals in the last 3 tournaments, and we're looking to go that one step further. Is that the kind of football, if that is going to be the identity going forward, is that the kind of football that's going to win as a tournament?
I think we honestly got to mix our game up a little bit more. I think we've got to be more forthright in our attacking play, as in, you know, if we stretch the opposition in behind, we're going to have more room into feet. If you get more room into feet, then you're going to get the likes of Bellingham and Foden on the ball and able to deliver passes from closer range to their goal. Over the last 2 games, I would turn around and say it's been even Stevens on chances, you know, against Greece at home and Finland away. Now, I probably expected a little bit more. We go into Greece in the next game, and I'm a little bit concerned because teams are breaking on us too readily.
There's going to be some game in Athens. That's Greece-England, which is next month, and of course TalkSPORT will be there. The Debrief will be there as well. I think that they missed a sitter to make it 1-1 on around 56 minutes, Finland, and after that, 10 minutes or so after that, we brought on 2 subs. We looked electric when Ollie Watkins and Noni Madueke came on.
OK, so let's be devil's advocate. That's part of the game plan, that you get yourselves in a position where you've laid down a solid foundation. England were winning. At that stage, you then bring on what, you know, you were talking about it in the last few minutes of the radio programme, what's now in modern day parlance, closers. So you bring on Madueke, who can stretch the defence and will play the right wing position a completely different way to Cole Palmer. He gets the ball and he wants to be dynamic and he wants to run. You thought that Ollie Watkins had an even better game, so there's another player that can come on a stretch back line. So maybe that is part of it. Maybe that, you know, the tactics from here on in are going to be to utilise those on the bench a little bit more, and that it is a 16-player team rather than an 11-player team at any given time, because Madueke and Watkins, you could argue, were England's 2 best players, and they play 50 minutes between them.
Do we call them closers or finishers?
Yeah, either. Doesn't matter. When in Finland, call them finishers.
Either will do. I think we know what you mean. And England did get the job done in the end. I want to ask you, Stuart, about Cole Palmer, who basically had very little impact on the game. Certainly wasn't the Cole Palmer we've seen this season. He was a fantastic footballer, and I thought his body language when he came on was really poor as well. So what did you make of his evening?
I think he was asked tactically to hold his width, and I didn't think that suited him as much. I think he likes the freedom of drifting, you know, for Chelsea, and probably when he's been on his better form, more central for England. He had to play wide because I think Jack Grealish come off the width a little bit on that side, and probably Trent come inside slightly. And I thought it was a little bit disappointing. And the thing is, what we're trying to do, the clamour is to make sure that these players bring their club form, which is pretty good, onto the international stage, which for certain individuals we've probably not seen that. And I think sometimes we've been so obsessed with this possession-based game, which is fantastic, but the game eventually boils down to what you do in each box. That'll dictate who wins and who loses, and over the 2 games it's been very even Stevens, and the results have been even Steven as well. We won one, lost one.
So you make of the game and the performance what you will. The result was important for England, especially after Thursday, and in the context of the group as well. Just very briefly, just finally, Jim, just sum up for us, put it into context what England have done here, because Finland are no great shakes, are they?
No, they're not. I mean, they're ranked outside the top 60 in the FIFA World Rankings and in the yellow ratings as well. They're 65th and England are 7th. So you would expect that England would win pretty handily against the side of Finland's quality. They're beneath Angola and Burkina Faso and Jordan in the current world rankings. So you would expect that England would win this quite handily. As you mentioned, had it got to 1-1, it could have been a different story. It didn't. And the Finnish goal, when it came, was just a consolation. England at that stage probably looked the more likely side to score the 4th, and it could have ended up being 4-0, which would have had a potentially transformative effect on the group. But I just think that, in terms of the performance, it was a 6 out of 10. The result, an 8 out of 10. But the performance, 6 out of 10, and that when they've analysed it, they'll see that there's room for improvement.
Got to remember, Jim always gives generous marks. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, we look at it as a bigger picture as well. We're looking at it as a 2-year cycle. Will performances like that get our hands on the trophy and go one step further than we have been? And question marks are thrown up because the opposition are having too many efforts in and around our box, as well as the fact I don't think we're asking enough questions of the opposition's defence.
So Jim's man of the match was Madueke, mine was Watkins, yours was the fellow who was in charge of the boat on the boat trip earlier, wasn't it?
He done a bloody good job. I've got to say. He did. He got us back safely and dry.
You enjoyed the boat trip more than the game, I think. Listen, all that mattered was the win in the end for England. We'll deal with performances as time goes on. The Debrief will be back in Athens next month on the talkSPORT YouTube channel.